Hey, so this is a short video about setting up a cutter head on your Kentwood G330x. It's our little right hand template. There's a little indicator line to show that it goes to the right hand side. Just make sure it's flush up against that edge and against the track. This is the left hand side. Normally you wouldn't have both of them in at the same time, but for demonstration purposes that's just fine. We go get the right hand head, and here we had it backwards. We want to make sure that the knife blade is facing the same way as the template there. On the right hand side here we've got this first collar that we're going to put on before the cutter head, then place the cutter head on, and we have this other collar. You want to get that tight up against the shoulder. That'll provide you the 0 point on your reference when you're actually grinding the knife. So make sure that's tight up against the shoulder. Just push it till it doesn't go anymore. You are going to want to make sure to tighten this down real good. I do it deliberately a little bit loose so you can kind of see what happens when we try to screw that other collar on the other side. It's not going to tighten down. It's just going to push this one off because I didn't get it very tight. Getting a different size Allen wrench here. I wish they were both the same size, but they're not. Tightening that down, trying to make sure that's tight as well. Don't want that slipping either. Any movement in here can cause problems for when you're sharpening or grinding a knife. This little tool just makes that other collar expand out to fill the space and tighten it down, pinch it tight, but it only works if that other side is tight, and it's not. So I didn't do a good job showing it here, but the right hand side collar there is slipping all over the place. Not very good. Anyway, so do that all right, and that's the right side mount. I'm going to go ahead and take this off, swap over to the left side mount. For anybody who doesn't know, the different sides of the mount are based on which of the molder heads the knife is designed to go on. You've got some that are for heads 1, 3, or 6, and some that are heads 2, 4, or 5. So I'm just taking all this stuff off, getting ready for the other one. Here's our head, making sure it's going the right direction. One thing about this is we do have the knife blade sticking out a lot past the gutter head. That's going to cause a problem in a minute. But on this one we don't need the right hand collar. We're just going to use that same collar that was on the left hand on the right hand side now. Go ahead and get it in there, tighten it up, and that'll pinch it up against the left hand side of your spindle here. It's already got the 0 point reference built in, so shouldn't have to make any adjustments, nothing too radical here. One thing I always forget is that since we've flipped that collar around, it does tighten down the other way, and there you see the problem. Since the knife blade's sticking out, we can't actually tighten it down. The wrench doesn't fit in there. So what we're going to do, loosen that up, take it off, and we're just going to use one of the spacer shims that we use like it was on the molder to get down in between there. We're just looking for a compression fit between the collar and the left hand side of the spindle. So fitting a spacer in there just like so, not going to be a problem at all. One thing you can do in a minute when I'm tightening it down, it does tend to lift the spindle up a bit. If you use the handle locks on your grinder to hold it in place, you won't have this lifting problem that I encounter right here. Trying to tighten it down. Again, make sure that's good and tight. You don't want it slipping around. So it should be really firmly seated in there. Right there, you can see it lifting up. You can eliminate that a little bit, but there's nice and tight, making sure that it's not shifting around, and we're done.